What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Tuesday. I hope that everyone is having an amazing day, and I hope that everyone had an amazing Labor Day weekend. Well, anywho, let's get to the hot topics. Now, I'll start off with Karen Hugger. So, Karen Hugger has been released from prison after being found guilty of DUI, TMZ has learned. Okay, so the Montgomery County Detention Center in Maryland tells TMZ Hugger was released Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time after she served 6 months behind bars. So, the Real Housewives of Potomac star is getting out of the clink 6 months earlier than expected, having been convicted on 7 of 8 charges prosecutors brought against her, including DUI, negligent driving, failing to control her vehicle's speed to avoid a collision, and more. So, moving forward, Karen won't be allowed behind the wheel for a year. She'll also serve 5 years of supervised probation upon release, with an interlock device required when she's cleared to drive again. If there aren't any violations, probation will switch to unsupervised after 3 years. Okay. So TMZ broke the story. Hugger's March 2024 crash in Potomac, Maryland went down when she struck a median and crosswalk sign at an intersection before slamming into a parking sign and coming to a stop just off the roadway. Okay, so anywho, body cam footage played for the jury shows Hugger being questioned by cops after the collision. So this is really insane, ladies and gentlemen, that Karen Hugger is going to be out of prison because, ladies and gentlemen, now that she is going to be out of prison, she is gonna go insane. She's gonna want to drive again, and if she's gonna really want to drive again, then unfortunately there's going to be high chances that this woman is going to end up behind the wheel even though she's not supposed to. And if that ends up happening, then unfortunately she's going to get a bigger punishment. What she needs to do is she's going to have to use an Uber, she's going to have to use the city bus, she's going to have to use a taxi, okay? And I think it's for the best anyways that she's going to have to be depending on those things anyways, even if she were to be allowed, let's say, to be driving again, because at the end of the day, this woman does not seem like the type of person that you should trust on the road. After hearing this very delicate story that she was just going out crazy out in the road, and she wasn't even giving a damn about being under the influence especially, and I'm just glad though that she did not kill anyone when she was on the road on that day. Okay, or else it would have been so much worse, and ladies and gentlemen, she would be in prison for maybe, I don't know, 20 years maybe if she were to end up going towards that route of killing someone while being under the influence and driving. So I believe what is going on here with Karen Hugger is that yes, now she is out of prison, and yes, she is not allowed to be driving for a while, but will she be back doing more things when it comes to being in a reality show? Well, I don't think so, because if there's one thing that these people that are behind these reality shows is that these people don't want to have, any convicted people into their shows. Okay, like I believe that it would be ratings gold maybe if they were to bring back those type of people, like with Karen Hugger, for example, because I think that by bringing her, she'll be there to tell her story on how it went in prison and so forth. But I just think that when it comes to these producers that are behind these reality shows, especially when it comes to the Real Housewives of Potomac, I definitely think that they don't want a person like her to be in the reality show, because they feel like if they were to bring her back into that reality show, she would be a bad influence for everyone else on the show. And then later on, she is going to, basically be like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to be doing this in the reality show and it's not going to be a big deal. And then it's going to be causing more issues, not just towards her, but also towards the reality show itself. Like she can definitely be a rule breaker as long as she is, in that reality show, and as long as she is out of prison now. I mean, let's be honest. So that's the reason to why I believe that this woman is not going to be back in the reality show, and she is definitely going to be outside of the spotlight maybe for a while. So now that I got to see her mugshot, by the way, she does not look good at all. She looks like she is definitely out of it. She looks like she definitely is already done with life, and that she is just, in that situation where she is just, after a hangover or something, when in reality, I don't think that she was, when in reality, she was, I believe, hungover, or I believe, under the influence when the mugshot was taken anyways. So, anywho, good luck to Karen Hugger, man. And yeah, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce. So as we all know, Taylor and Travis are going to get married really soon. And apparently, Jason Kelce got to reveal something pretty deep in a recent interview in a podcast. Well, Jason Kelce just revealed that he is not sure if he's going to end up being the best man for his brother Travis Kelce, because he said that Travis Kelce has a bunch of friends, which basically is a bunch of options towards him. Well, this is what I have to say. I think that Jason Kelce should be chosen as the best man because, first and foremost, that's Travis Kelce's brother. Second of all, hello, Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce are really, really close. I've seen them be really, really close as brothers. So I think that it would be the stupidest mistake ever if Travis Kelce does not choose Jason Kelce to be his best man. Okay, especially because Jason Kelce, I'm sure he is highly supportive of this marriage. He is highly supportive of this relationship. Okay, I mean, if Jason Kelce were to not have a really good relationship with Travis and Taylor and were to disagree on this wedding, then okay, yeah, then Travis Kelce has a really good reason to not have Jason Kelce be the best man and have somebody else instead. All right. So Travis Kelce, please consider Jason Kelce to be your best man. I highly recommend that you do so. Okay. And I believe that there is nothing better than to see that your own blood is the one that is being the best man for you on the best day of your life when you are becoming a husband. Okay. So anywho, I can already imagine that this wedding is going to be a huge wedding. It's going to have a lot of good, A-list celebrities in there. I mean, I can imagine Selena Gomez is going to be there. I can imagine that Gigi Hadid is going to be there. I can imagine that, I don't know, maybe all of the football mates of Travis Kelce from the Kansas City Chiefs are going to also be there. I can imagine that probably Blake Lively is going to be there if Blake Lively ends up reconciling with Taylor Swift. And much, much more are going to be there. So, yeah, I can definitely see it myself that could definitely happen. But anyways, I think that if Jason Kelce does not get chosen to be the best man for this wedding, I think that Jason Kelce is going to have a huge grudge towards Travis Kelce, and then the relationship is going to go down south. Because I think that it would be really hurtful and it would be a huge slap in the face towards Jason Kelce if Jason Kelce does not get chosen at all. Because like I said, Jason Kelce is the brother. And also I feel like by Travis not choosing Jason and choosing somebody else instead, that's like saying, you know what, Jason, you are not really all that important to me like this person is to be the best man for my wedding. You are just my brother and that's it. Okay, now step aside. That's how I see it as. And I'm sure that is how Travis Kelce is that is how Jason Kelce is going to see it as well. So, yeah, this is really, really delicate here. Okay. But anywho, good luck to Jason Kelce. I really hope that he gets chosen, and that is all I have to say. Now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Fifth Harmony. So Fifth Harmony just made their comeback this past weekend at a Jonas Brothers concert over in Dallas, Texas. And they got to perform their greatest hits in front of so many people, causing so many people to go nuts, because this is the first time in like 8 years that the Fifth Harmony group gets to perform together. Okay, now Camila Cabello, of course, was not present because Camila Cabello, as we all know, got to depart the group back in 2016. But Camila Cabello got to show some love for the group Fifth Harmony on Instagram with some heart emojis. Well, this is really insane that Fifth Harmony is back again, because I thought that Fifth Harmony was going to be departing for good. because of the fact that unfortunately they were getting a lot of negative feedback because of the fact that Camila Cabello was no longer in the group. And apparently everyone thought that the quartet was just not really functioning well because they thought that Ali Brooke was not that good. They thought that Normani was not that good. They thought that the rest of the girls were just not that good either. And that Camila was definitely like basically the special condiment to the group. But I think that what went on here was that there were also a lot of good fans out there that were like, you know what? We want to see Fifth Harmony back on stage again, and we definitely want to see Fifth Harmony release new music. So I believe that is what definitely motivated Fifth Harmony to come back. And I think that now that they are back, at least performing on stage, hopefully they'll, release a new album really soon. And I think that, in my opinion, Fifth Harmony, without Camila Cabello or with Camila Cabello, is still a really good group anyways, because, they're still really good singers in the group, especially Ali, for example. And I still can't forget that when Work From Home was released, that song was a mega hit, that song was like a top 5 hit in the Hot 100 charts. And by the way, it was the group's biggest hit to this day. And of course, Camila Cabello was in the group at the time, but yet again, even with Camila Cabello, I believe the song would have still functioned, in my opinion, because like I said, Ali is a really good singer and the other girls are also really good singers. So with all of that being said, I believe that if Fifth Harmony comes back, I believe that it'll definitely be not just a comeback for the group, but also it'll be a major comeback for girl groups, because we haven't heard any girl groups have their huge moments in years. We haven't even heard girl groups even have any moments in years. Okay, this whole entire time throughout the past like 5-6 years, we've only heard solo artists, have their huge hits and have their huge moments, and then of course be on stage and so forth. And I believe that with girl groups, it's like very empowering, because I believe that there's nothing better than to hear girls perform with each other in a group and compete against one another as they are singing, like with Destiny's Child, for example. Destiny's Child was a mega group way back in the day that they got to release a lot of singles. And let's also remember that TLC was also a mega group, and many other groups were also really, really good at way back in the day that were also girl groups, so let's just focus on that instead of focusing on the negativity that people were saying in the past about Camila Cabello no longer being in the group, which to me, is, whatever, because at the end of the day, like I said, Camila or no Camila, the group is still really good to me. Okay, just saying. Y'all can disagree. I don't care. Okay, now on to the next topic. So let's talk about Howard Stern. So Howard Stern's keeping his lips sealed for a bit longer. His Sirius XM comeback got yanked today, so those cancellation rumors apparently can be true. All right, so the Howard Stern show teased fans Tuesday, posting that Howard won't speak out until Monday, September 8, even slapping an X over today's date and telling everyone to stay tuned. So with his $100 million per year, 5-year Sirius XM deal set to expire at the end of 2025, Stern already tried to get ahead of the cancellation chatter last month, dropping a promo that totally leaned into the drama. So apparently, the spoof played like a blockbuster trailer, booming Howard Stern fired, canceled, is it really bye-bye Bowie, as chaos swirled around the show. So the narrator teased staff leaks, joke, strikes, and total distress before promising Stern himself would spill all on September 2nd. Okay, so this is really insane that the Howard Stern show isn't going to be back until next week. I am suspecting that this guy is going to get canceled after all, because I think it's really unusual that he is not going to be on today like he was expected to and like we were expecting him to, and that he's going to be back until next week. I think that if this guy is really going to get canceled, then it's going to be an end of a huge era for him, because let's remember that Howard Stern has been doing his show for like the past 30 years or maybe over 30 years, and he has been known worldwide, I believe, for his show, and he is highly loved and all of that, and a lot of people are going to miss him dearly. I don't really know as to why this show is going to get canceled. I personally believe that maybe the reason to why this show is going to get canceled is because maybe Sirius XM didn't have the enough money to keep him in the radio station, or maybe Howard Stern was like, you know what? I believe that my time is up and I want to focus on family, or want to focus on my own life now, and maybe he's not getting fired, maybe he's just leaving, or maybe what could also be happening is that this guy could also be in a situation where maybe he got into a disagreement with someone behind the scenes that we don't know of, and that because of that, they are now getting rid of Howard Stern. It could be several reasons that we don't know, but we're going to have to hear it out of Howard Stern himself, and I really would be sad to see this guy go, because I definitely think that nobody can be as good as Howard Stern, and nobody can be as iconic as Howard Stern. All right, Howard Stern is like the master of all radio hosts. Okay, I don't think that there would be a Ryan Seacrest. I don't think that there would be an Ellen Kay. I don't think that there would be I don't know, a Steve Harvey show on the radio, and many other hosts if it weren't for Howard Stern. Okay? And he has interviewed a lot of good artists, and he has, definitely been very open, very out there, and all of that. I mean, maybe he's had his moments where maybe he was a little bit controversial every now and then with maybe some comments that he would say on the radio. But I mean, I don't think it would be a big deal at the end of the day in order to get him out of the radio business. But this is just if really it's true that the Howard Stern show is actually going to be out for good. Okay? Now, I definitely think that nobody can replace Howard Stern. I think that nobody can definitely be as good as Howard Stern. And I definitely think that if Howard Stern were to be out of the radio business, especially out of Sirius XM, then I believe that Sirius XM is definitely going to lose a bunch of listeners, and then Sirius XM is going to be losing a lot of money. Okay, so I believe that this right here would be more of a huge loss for Sirius XM than for Howard Stern himself, and that would be definitely suckish. So let's be realistic, ladies and gentlemen, that this right here is definitely something that unfortunately happens even to the best of the best radio hosts, or even to the best of the best TV hosts out there. And it's scary and it's unexpected, and unfortunately it just comes to show that unfortunately we as people, we need to accept those kinds of things in life. And there's this saying that goes that when one door closes, the other one opens. So maybe what's going to end up happening is that if Howard Stern ends up getting canceled, that door is going to close, but maybe another one is going to open. Maybe a different company is maybe going to hire him, and maybe Howard Stern isn't going to be out of the radio business. Maybe iHeartRadio will hire him. Maybe Odyssey will hire him. Maybe other radio companies will hire him, and so forth. And he will have a better opportunity in those other radio companies, especially because in those other radio companies, I mean, they are also as good as SiriusXM, or maybe even better than SiriusXM. So we have to look at the positives here. So with all of that being said, good luck to you, Howard Stern. You got this. And on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Charlie Sheen. So Charlie Sheen keeps it real in this new memoir and docuseries that's going to be out really soon, where he's going to be revealing all of the details on his ups and downs immensely, especially during his addiction days. Now, Jon Cryer revealed recently in an interview that he always knew that Charlie Sheen doubted himself in so many ways, but Jon Cryer was always there for him, and Jon Cryer always loved him. It's also being revealed that Charlie Sheen was, going through a situation in his life where he felt like he was going to be losing it all, and he was, not really getting enough success for his fans and for himself, and so, because of how much he felt so doubtful about himself, especially because he was going through addiction and so forth. And it was just coming to show that Charlie Sheen just didn't feel like he was really in a comfortable spot in his life, to the point that he was just like wanting to give up, I believe. And with all of that being said, Charlie Sheen, even though he went through all of that in his life, yet again, he kept on going. He kept on going and he kept on going because he was like not wanting to disappoint himself, and he didn't want to disappoint his fans, and he didn't want to disappoint anybody else that was surrounding him. And therefore, he just kept on going. And then from there, now he is releasing this memoir and this docuseries, which, by the way, is going to be definitely a moneymaker towards him, because I believe that he is like the author of all of this, and of course he is the one that's narrating all of this, I'm pretty sure, because it is his own life. And at the end of the day, I think that we are all going to know exactly what he went through in his life, instead of just sitting there and be like, okay, well, Charlie Sheen had it easy throughout his whole entire life because he's always been famous, he's always made a lot of money and so forth. When in reality, like I said, that's not true. He's had it very hard. And what I also believe here is that, yes, he has made a lot of money, but at the same time, and he has really, been around a lot of cool artists and so forth, especially when working in movies. But at the same time, he, is that type of person that, he's never been cocky, I believe. He's never been a show off. He's never been like the type of guy that is like, okay, well, I'm better than you because I am this, this, and this, and you are not this, this, and this. Like, I think that that's another message that this memoir and this docuseries is going to be leaving out. So with all of that being said, this is really interesting, especially because I haven't heard of Charlie Sheen in a while, and I believe that he hasn't done a movie in, I believe, a little bit of a while, if I'm not mistaken. And now that he is going to be back with this docuseries, it's like, okay, well, now Charlie Sheen is not just like fully back in the spotlight, but like now he is like getting ready to like let the world know that, he is a human being at the end of the day, and he is not just an artist. And, he's, of course, been in a very tough situation where he would compete so much with a lot of other people in Hollywood, because at the end of the day, Hollywood is a very tough business to be in. So this is really insane. This is really cool at the same time. But anywho, good luck to Charlie Sheen. That Charlie Sheen is now going to be releasing this docuseries, and he's going to be releasing this memoir that I can imagine is going to be so realistic at the end of the day. All right, but that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely show, The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.